You tried using AI before, maybe you pasted a prompt into ChatGPT or tried to brainstorm content ideas, but what came back felt off. Like it technically works, but it didn't feel right. It didn't sound like you. It didn't save you the kind of time people keep promising. And if that's been your experience, I want you to know it's not your fault. Most people are using AI like a magic vending machine. Drop in a random prompt, expect genius to pop out. But here's the truth, AI only works when you give it the right direction. And today, I'm going to show you the one simple strategy that changed everything in my business. It's what actually makes AI feel aligned, authentic, and genuinely helpful. Now, if you're anything like the coaches and course creators I talk to every single week, you're not against AI, you're curious, you're open. You're willing to give it a shot, especially if it could save you time or help you stay more consistent. But here's the thing most people don't say out loud. Even though you've tried it, maybe you've even played with ChatGPT or run a few automations, it still feels kind of clunky, a little awkward. It's like, yes, it spits out something, but does it actually sound like you? Does it reflect your brand? Does it carry the nuance or clarity you've worked so hard to build into your messaging? Most of the time, not really. And that's where so many smart entrepreneurs are getting stuck. They hear all the noise online. AI is the future. If you're not using AI, you're already behind. Automate everything. But here's what's missing from most of those conversations. No one is actually teaching you how to use AI in a way that aligns with your voice. No one is showing you why it doesn't work out of the box and what to do about it. And no one is saying, hey, it's not you, it's the lack of a system. Because the truth is, AI doesn't work like a magic pill. You can't just throw in a prompt and expect it to capture your brand voice, your offers, and your values perfectly. That's not how real assistants work, and it's not how AI works either. But what I've discovered, and what I'm going to walk you through today, is that when you shift the way you approach AI, the results change instantly. So I'm going to introduce you to a strategy I call the AI brain. It's not a platform, it's not a tool. It's a method for training AI to think like you, sound like you, and support your business without turning it into something robotic or off-brand. This is the approach that finally made AI click for me, even as a tech person myself. So in this episode, we're going to bust some myths, simplify the process, and give you a practical roadmap to make AI feel like your creative co-pilot, not your competition. You'll learn what makes the AI brain different, how to build your own version of it, and how it sets the foundation for automation that actually saves you time without sacrificing your voice or connection. So let's dive into why this strategy works, especially when nothing else has. Let's talk about why AI hasn't worked the way you hoped it would. Maybe you opened up ChatGPT with the best intentions. You sat down, typed out a prompt like, write a sales email for my coaching offer, hit enter, and what came back felt flat. The tone was off, the message was okay, but kind of generic, and even though it technically worked, it didn't sound like you, not really. So you closed the tab or copied it into a doc, tried to fix it, got frustrated, and you gave up. And what I want to tell you is this. That's not a failure. That's not a sign you're behind. That's a sign the system is broken. Because the way most people are being told to use AI right now is like hiring a new assistant, giving them zero training, and then handing them your most important sales page and saying, good luck, make it sound like me. It will never work. And yet that's exactly how most people are using AI. They're relying on random one-off prompts, no context, no brand tone, no goals. Just write me a thing. And when the results feel disconnected or robotic, they assume AI doesn't work, or worse, that they aren't techy enough to make it work. But I need you to hear this. You're not the problem. The process is. Because the real problem isn't AI. It's how we've been taught to interact with it. We're treating it like a content vending machine. Drop in a prompt, get something back, done. But AI isn't a vending machine. It's more like an intern, one with a lot of potential, but zero context unless you give it some. It doesn't know your tone, it doesn't know your audience, it doesn't know your values, your offers, or why you do what you do. So when we expect it to perform without direction, of course it sounds generic. Of course it doesn't land. Of course it feels like extra work instead of support. This is the exact frustration I hear from so many smart, thoughtful business owners. I want to use AI, but I don't want to sound like a robot. I've tried it, but it didn't really help. I don't have time to figure this out. And the truth is, you shouldn't have to figure it out alone. And so that's why this next strategy I'm going to walk you through is such a game changer. Because when you stop treating AI like a vending machine and start treating it like a team member, That's when the magic happens. So let's talk about the shift and how to actually build your own AI brain. So now that we've talked about why AI hasn't been working for most people, let's shift into what it actually needs to succeed. Because here's the mindset shift that changes everything. AI is not a content vending machine, it's a team member. And like any good team member, it needs to be trained. You wouldn't hire a virtual assistant and hand them a blank Google Doc and expect them to nail your voice on day one without any guidance, right? You'd onboard them, you'd give them some examples, you'd walk them through your tone, your audience, and the way you structure your offers. You'd explain your non negotiables. So, what language feels off brand, what's important to you ethically, where you like to lead with connection instead of hype. You'd show them the why behind your business, not just the tasks. And AI, it needs the exact same thing. And so that's where my AI brain method comes in. Think of your AI brain like a custom brand guide, but for your AI assistant. It's not a tool or a platform, it's a trained identity that you feed into whatever AI platform you're using, whether that's ChatGPT, a custom GPT, or an automation tool. It includes a few very specific high leverage components. First, your brand voice. This is more than just friendly or professional, it's the emotional tone behind your content. Are you warm and grounding, bold and no BS, casual but strategic? These tonal cues help AI shape everything from sentence structure to storytelling. Next, your audience profile. AI needs to know who you're speaking to. Are they new coaches still figuring out their niche? Are they mid-level solopreneurs overwhelmed with content? The more specific you are, the better AI can write with purpose. Next, key phrases and frameworks. We all have go-to phrases, metaphors, or teaching frameworks that make our brand recognizable. But when you give those to AI, it starts to reflect your way of thinking, not just your words. Next, your ethical guardrails. Don't want to sound hypey or bro markety? Want to avoid fake scarcity or overpromising? AI can be trained to not do those things. This is huge for keeping your content aligned with your values. Now, whether you're launching a bootcamp, offering a free guide, or promoting a webinar, your AI brain can be trained to write with the right tone and call to action structure that supports your sales process. Now, once all of that is packaged into a single AI brain prompt, just one custom paragraph or pre-trained file, it becomes your secret weapon. You can paste that prompt into any AI tool, and what you'll get back won't sound like a generic template. It'll sound more like you on your best day, with the strategy, the tone, and clarity that make your business yours. So if AI hasn't felt quite right up to now, it's not because you're not tech enough, it's because no one gave you this system. So let's move into a real life case study where I tested this and saw the difference. Let me walk you through the exact moment this all really clicked for me. Now, before I developed my AI brain method, I was like most business owners dabbling in AI. I'd open up ChatGPT, type something like, write a sales email for me, and hit enter. And what I'd get back was, well, fine. It wasn't wrong. It hit the structure. It was technically accurate, but it didn't feel like me. You know that feeling when you read something you technically wrote, but it sounds like someone else doing a bad impression of you? That was me, week after week. So I kept going back to doing everything manually because it was faster than trying to fix the AI's version. And then one day I decided to run an experiment. I was preparing to send out a sales email for a live workshop, and I thought, what if instead of treating AI like a one-time prompt, I actually trained it first? So I created what would become the first version of my AI brain. I included my tone, grounded, encouraging, clear. I explained my audience, solopreneurs, coaches, course creators, people building transformational businesses with small teams and big hearts. I listed phrases I use all the time, like aligned automation and scale without burnout. And I shared what I don't want. No fake urgency, no bro market energy, nothing pushy or spammy. And then I ran the prompt again with all that included. And what came back? It wasn't just better, it sounded like something I could have written on a really clear, high energy day. It had my rhythm, it used examples that made sense to my audience, and the best part, I barely had to edit it. Now, I added a quick personal story, I changed the subject line to something more on brand, and it was ready to go. That one shift, training the prompt instead of just typing a random request, bought me back at least 6 hours that week. Not because the AI magically got smarter overnight, but because I finally gave it what it needed to support me. So after that, I started repeating the process. So I used the AI brain to draft my weekly newsletter. I use it to batch plan Instagram captions with less friction. I use it to generate video titles and podcast hooks in my brand tone. Now, it didn't just save me time, it reduced my mental load. I stopped second guessing every sentence and started refining instead of rewriting. And that's where the real ROI showed up. Less rewriting, more momentum, and content that actually sounded like me. And that's what happens when you stop using AI randomly and you start treating it like a trained team member. Now, coming up next, I'll walk you through how you can build your own AI brain in just a few steps so that you can experience this shift for yourself. So let's make this real. I've been talking about the AI brain strategy and what it's done for me, but now I want to walk you through exactly how you can build your own version. Because even if you've never written a custom prompt before, even if you feel like you're not techie, this is for you. Because here's the truth most AI gurus skip over. It's not about writing fancy prompts, it's about training the AI. So let's keep this simple and start with what I call the mini AI brain. This is a pared down version of the training prompt I use in my business and inside the AI bootcamp. And trust me, it works. So here are the core elements you need. So first, your tone in 3 words. This is how you want your content to feel. Think of it like the vibe you want to create in your emails, captions, or videos. Are you encouraging, strategic, grounded? Are you bold, fun, no fluff? Calm, professional, educational? Whatever fits your personality and brand, choose those 3 adjectives. This sets a tone for everything AI will generate. Then your go-to phrases. You know those little things you say all the time, the ones that your audience recognizes? Those really do matter. And so, for example, for mine, I've said like aligned automation, scale without burnout, don't overthink, simplify. Add a few of your own because these are micro signals that tell AI, this is how I sound. And then offer details. This is one that most people miss. AI needs to know what you're selling, even if you're not pitching in the content. Otherwise, it doesn't understand what kind of context to shape your message around. So write a 1-line description of your current offer. For example, I help course creators and coaches automate repetitive business tasks with AI so that they can save time and stay in their zone of genius. Simple, clear, and actionable. Next, CTA language preferences. This is where you can teach AI how to invite people to take action in a way that matches your energy. For me, I often say, here's your next step, or if it feels like a fit, or you don't need to do it all, just start here. Now think about how you naturally invite people in. Is it bold, gentle, direct? Give AI that structure. Now here's your pasteable starter prompt to try today. Hi ChatGPT, I'm training you to help me write content for my business in my voice. My tone is, insert the 3 words, I serve, describe your audience. I often use phrases like, list those 2 to 3 phrases. My current offer is, brief description. Please write a caption, email outline, etc. in a tone that matches my brand, make it feel personal, aligned, and focused on whatever that desired outcome. Avoid hype, use short paragraphs, and keep it natural. Copy that, paste it into ChatGPT, adjust the blanks to reflect your brand, and try it on a piece of content you've been putting off. Seriously, give it 3 minutes. See what happens. Because this isn't about writing those perfect prompts. It's about giving AI the right foundation so that it can support you, not sound like a robot impersonating you. Now, coming up next, I'll show you how to start using this in a real workflow. So your AI brain doesn't just live in theory, it lives in your actual business systems. So now that you've seen how to build your AI brain, let's talk about where it actually lives inside your business. Now, this isn't just a cool concept or something you use once for a sales email. This is the system that I plug into everything. So let me give you a real behind the scenes look at how it transforms my workflows from clunky, scattered content creation to strategic, sustainable execution. So let's start with my weekly emails. Before the AI brain, it would take me hours to write a single email. I'd sit down with a general idea of what I wanted to say. I'd stare at that blinking cursor, second guess every sentence, tweak the subject line 15 times, and then maybe send it. Or maybe push it off another day because it didn't feel ready. Now, I open ChatGPT, I load my trained AI brain prompts, drop in a topic, and within seconds, I have a full draft that sounds just like me. The storytelling is outlined, the CTA is aligned, the tone is warm and grounded, just like I'd want it to be. Instead of building from scratch, I'm editing from a strong starting point. And most weeks, the entire email goes out in under 30 minutes. Now, let's talk a little bit about launch content. You know the overwhelm that hits when you're mapping out a new offer? The pages of Google Docs, the pressure to writing nurture emails or sales emails, promo posts, webinar scripts, it's a lot. Now, before the AI brain, I'd spend days trying to figure out what to say, when to say it, and how to make it all sound consistent. Now, I plug my AI brain into every step of the launch flow. So, do I need a webinar reminder email? Done in 5 minutes. Instagram captions to promote the offer? Already written in my voice. A follow up email for people who didn't attend? Generated, edited, and scheduled. Now, the whole process moves faster, feels easier, and most importantly, it stays on brand. Let's take it even deeper. DM responses. So inside LaunchGrid, I've set up AI-powered chat flows that use my brand tone, my typical language, and my offers, so when someone opts in or sends a question, they get a response that actually sounds like me. So no generic templates, no robotic energy, just real connection, powered by a trained system. And one of my favorite use cases, which I'm actually preparing for right now, webinar outlines. Before planning a webinar felt like climbing a mountain because I was trying to figure out the hook, the teaching flow, the story transitions, the pitch. Now I give ChatGPT the purpose of the webinar, the audience, my offer, and my tone, and I get back a pretty solid outline that I can tweak and run with. So let me paint the before and after picture really clearly for you. Now, before the AI brain, I had scattered tasks, blank page dread, inconsistent tone, decision fatigue. And after the AI brain, I had streamlined workflows, consistent brand voice, faster turnaround, and more energy for what really matters. And the best part, again, it all sounds like me. That's what happens when you stop relying on things like one-off prompts and you start working with a trained AI brain. So before we wrap up, I want to zoom out and talk about something that's bigger than the systems, bigger than the workflows or the tools. Let's talk about your role in all of this. Because what I know to be true is this. You didn't build your business just to crank out content. You built it because you had a vision, something only you could bring to the table. And so somewhere along the way, the to-do list took over. The tech stacked up. The pressure to be everywhere, say everything, and keep up with the algorithm made it feel like you had to become a full-time content machine. And that's where AI comes in, but not to replace you. AI is not your brand voice. AI is not your identity. AI is not your creativity. AI is your intern, a really fast, really eager, highly customizable intern that's waiting for direction. It's here to take the busy work off your plate, not the brilliance. Like I've said before, you're still the strategist, the storyteller, the one who knows what your audience needs to hear today. And that's what that's why this isn't about doing less work. It's about doing less of the wrong work. It's about protecting your capacity so you can do more of the work that actually lights you up. The coaching, the teaching, the creating, the building of something meaningful. And if you can start thinking about AI that way, not as a threat, but as a partner, that's the shift that changes everything. So if this episode gave you a glimpse of what's possible with AI and you're sitting there thinking, okay, I get it, but I need help actually setting this up, then I want to invite you to something that's going to make this real. It's called the Jumpstart AI Systems Bootcamp, and it's where we turn curiosity into clarity and start building the actual systems that support your business. This isn't a long course. It's not passive watching. This is a hands-on implementation focused experience designed for business owners who are ready to stop guessing and to start building. And in just 1 week, you will create and train your first workflows. We'll set up your plug and play workflows for content, leads, or follow-up, or whatever system that you're challenged with. And you'll walk away with a system that saves time. You don't need to be techie. You don't need a team. You just need a business and a desire to build it in a smarter, more sustainable way. So if you're ready to stop feeling behind and start using AI in a way that feels aligned, ethical, and actually helpful, join the Jumpstart AI Systems Bootcamp by either clicking the link in the description below, or you can go to andresholguin.com/bootcamp. And if you want to keep getting practical, heart-centered AI strategies like this every week, hit that subscribe button because we're building smart, soulful business over here. And the burnout, that's not part of the plan. Are you in? All right, I will see you next week.